Hi, it's Roy again, and to talk a little bit about how to trade your speaking talents for lucrative cruises. So this one is all about how to get approved by the cruise line. First one is your bio. Now, I just wanted to talk to that a few moments. Some people think, well, you gotta, it's okay for you to say or talk about what you do, being a professional speaker and having, all this credentials behind you. Well, you heard my wife in the very first video, the intro video, where she said that she's not a professional speaker and that she just got her kind of training from Toastmasters, which, by the way, I highly recommend. It gives you a lot more confidence when you speak. So kind of that myth that you need to be an international speaker and all this kind of stuff really isn't that important. What's most important is that you have some stage presence, that you've done something before. And so how you get approved is, first you start off with your bio. And your bio is not like your traditional work resume. Your bio is about your past experience in life. Like, for instance, in my case, I'm a speaker where I teach independent retail, how to survive in the big box retail world. Well, that goes into my bio. Plus any other kinds of activity that I might have done outside. For instance, I'm a Rotarian, and I speak at Rotary clubs. That goes into my bio. For instance, our daughter is an example. She used to work for the Justice Society, stopping violence against women. That went into her bio. Now, she isn't going on cruises and et cetera as a speaker, but understand the context of that. They want to see some life experiences that you may have had over a period of time. So that goes into your bio. Now, what I talk about when is that I call myself a mini historian and a storyteller. And so even when I get up on stage and I'm on the platform, I say, I'm a historian, an amateur historian, and I'm also a storyteller. So here's the key to this. Now I want you to write this down. Occasionally, when you're on stage, you might have someone who's a heckler in the audience. That occasionally can happen. Not always, but you want to kind of nip that in the bud long before that happens. So here's what I say when I get on stage. I say, now, I know that some of you out there have a lot more knowledge and history, or a lot more knowledge about the subject matter. And I appreciate that, and I honor that. And so what you're going to see here is just a kind of a mini portion of it, simply because I only have 35 to 40 minutes. And so if you want to come and share some information with me later, I'm happy to take that information in and even change my presentation because you've given me some information. That immediately takes out all the hecklers in the audience, because nobody's going to be fool enough to stand up and counteract you after you've made that kind of a comment. So that's a very important point in this video. Now, I want to just share something else with you. Actual life experiences. Now, you also have to have a video. In your video, previously you would have sent a DVD to the cruise ship director who hires speakers. You don't do that anymore. You create a video on YouTube of yourself. Now, here's the key to this. You have to have a video on YouTube, and what they're looking for is how you engage with an audience. And that's very important. So you have to have an audience behind you who will laugh at the most appropriate moment if you've made a joke, or just kind of is very intent on listening to you. So that's another very important point. Now, the next step is, of course, when you go online and you look for cruising for free, you'll come up with a bunch of ads for cruise speakers. These are agencies. I never ever recommend an agency as a speaker. Now here's why. If you've been hired by an agency and you go to the cruise line and they charge a lot of money, and they charge you, they don't charge the cruise line, that means you can never get out of their grasp after that. Because if you try to pull away from that and the cruise line says, well, are you with an agency? You say, well, I used to be, but not anymore. No, they work with these agencies, so they're not about to do anything with that. So before you make that decision, if you decide to go with an agency, that's entirely up to you. I've never gone. I've gone directly to the cruise lines, and that's how we work. Now, there are 3 cruise lines that I work with: Royal Caribbean, Princess, and Holland America. There are others out there. There's, I could name off a dozen of them. Those are the 3 that I work with. You'll have more than enough work with these 3. So this is how you get approved. You get your bio together. You tell them that you're a historian and a storyteller. You put in your actual work experience. You don't use an agency, and then these are the 3 cruise lines that you work with. Now, The next video will be about the do's and don'ts on board the cruise ship after you've been approved, after you've got your bio in there, after all these things happen. The cruise ship says, yep, the cruise line says, yep, you've been selected to go to this point or this location, and now I'm going to talk to you about the do's and don'ts while you're on board the cruise ship. So on to the next video.